All right, welcome everyone to the November 7th Sustainability Committee meeting. And this is the first one that will be recorded and available later, so it's a big day for the committee. May I get a roll call, please?
Chair Friedman,
Here,
Councilmember Sneddon. Here. Councilmember Herman. Here.
we are present and the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? If there are any changes to the minutes? Not hearing any, is there any public comment to the minutes? Not hearing any, close public comment, and may I have a approval.
So moved. Second.
Moved by member Harmon, second by member Sneddon, all in favor? Aye. No opposed, no abstention, passes unanimously. On to general public comment for items not on today's agenda, but under the purview of the committee. Is there any members of the public that wish to speak for general public? Not seeing a closed general public comment. And we'll go on to our big item of the day, item 4.
All right, so our agenda item for today is single-use materials regulations presented by Ms. Daniela Rosales.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniela, as Stephanie said, and I'm here on behalf of the city's Sustainability Department to present a recommendation to update the city's single-use materials regulations. So a few months ago, we all met in August. We presented the committee with 3 ordinance options. Based on your feedback, we've combined various elements from the options that we proposed to formulate one comprehensive recommendation. In the next slides, I'll summarize the proposed updates, most of which we discussed in depth during our last meeting. I will also share with you some of the feedback that we received from other jurisdictions and some of the businesses we spoke to. I'll also share some examples of pilot programs that the city would seek to implement to support the proposed regulations. So to quickly recap, the first section of the proposed ordinance prohibits the sale and distribution of polystyrene foodware and products. The city already has an existing expanded polystyrene foam ban, but we will need to add rigid polystyrene and additional foam products listed here to our ordinance in order to align with the neighboring jurisdictions. Mylar and latex balloons are also included in this update to align with Goleta and Carpinteria's ordinance. The sale of metallized or Mylar balloons would be prohibited, as well as the release of latex balloons into the environment. In 2019, the city banned plastic straws and stirrers, but since then, Goleta and Carpinteria have updated their ordinances to adopt stricter regulations. We are proposing updating our ordinance to prohibit non-compostable foodware. Any disposable foodware would need to be compostable within the city's collection programs, and this would include bioplastic or compostable plastic products that look and seem to be plastic. Those items cannot be composted at the county's resource center, so we won't be including them as compliant materials. During our last presentation, the committee did express some concerns about the business's ability to use their existing stock of foodware. So to address that, we will be including time for the businesses to go through their existing stock before requiring them to switch to compliant materials. So the committee also had some questions about the cost of compostable materials. We researched the costs and found that paper and fiber containers are generally cost comparable to plastic foodware. A cost analysis from the city of San Jose is shown on the screen to support this finding. The city of Goleta also conducted a similar local cost analysis, and their results were consistent with the table displayed there. The cost per unit for plastic versus paper or fiber does not vary significantly. And we've already banned the expanded polystyrene containers there. We've also checked in, and local distributors have compliant materials in stock. So we're prepared to make the change as we move forward.
Can I ask a question on this? Sorry, I think I'm not understanding this chart. It doesn't vary significantly, but
I'm reading it as like it doubles for some of them. What line am I supposed to be looking at?
Yeah, so EPS is the extended polystyrene, which we've already banned. That's the foam. And that was really the
Oh,
cheapest
okay.
material
Okay,
that you could get before. So a lot of businesses have already made this
I
transition
see.
away
Thank you.
from that.
I wasn't.
And so now we're dealing with the plastic to paper to fiber comparison.
Okay, and which one, we want them to go to molded natural fiber, which is one that they're moving to?
They can move to paper as long as it's the unlined plastic paper. So except for example, like a coffee cup that's lined with plastic wouldn't be compostable within the county's resource center. That would just go straight to the landfill. An unlined paper cup can definitely be composted, and fiber cups are also compostable. So those are the items that would be compliant in this case.
Okay.
And if we want to go back one slide, we can take just a quick look again at the type of containers that would be compliant. So it'd be those fiber containers. We would be looking at, it could be simple paper, it could be fiber. We have a lot of items that are compostable that are accepted within the county's resource center, paper items, and then non-plastic utensils. Thank you. So the next section of the proposed ordinance is a reusable foodware policy. And this update would require any food or beverage provider to serve items for on-site consumption in reusable foodware. So this would only apply to the for here option. And exemptions would be granted to establishments without dishwashing capacity or access. Switching to reusables is the best way for businesses to reduce their waste generation and save money. We reviewed a cost analysis conducted by Upstream Solutions, which is a nonprofit group specializing in reuse. And the analysis examined 121 businesses and found that all of them saved money when they made the switch to reusables. These cost savings were usually realized within a few months after that initial cost, and always within a year. And in addition to the higher costs, single-use disposables often have a higher climate impact than reusables. For example, we have some images here from that analysis. Stainless steel cutlery breaks even with disposable cutlery for environmental impacts after just 2 uses. And the more you use a ceramic cup, for example, you save more water than if you're using paper cups for the same amount of times. So the city would seek to provide grants for dishwashers and reusable foodware purchases in order to support the businesses in their transition to reusables for on-site dining. In the next section of the update, we propose to include AB 1162, which is an assembly bill that prohibits single-use personal care products or toiletries within hotel guest rooms. Hotels can use their existing inventory of small toiletries, but they would have to provide them upon request at the front desk, or they can make the switch to bulk dispensers to reduce waste, but they would still have time to go through any existing inventory that they have. And on to our next item, we are recommending updating our city's existing single-use plastic bag ban. This ban would prohibit all plastic bags, including the thicker reusable plastic bags that we see in many stores today. The recycled content requirement for paper bags would also increase to 50%. It's currently at 40%. And customers would be able to use paper or reusable textile bags as alternatives.
There's a question about the bags.
Yes.
So those bags, like the sustainable implements department has that are made of sort of recycled plastic, can those be sold? I mean, if they're sort of made of plastic?
With the cloth, the plastic cloth?
Yeah,
Yes.
those are okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Like the Trader Joe's bags.
Yeah.
Like woven plastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also have one on this. Does the city of Goleta, they don't have this or they do?
No, currently they have the plastic, the statewide
But
plastic
not
bag
this
ban,
specific.
but not the specific one.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I
And
gotta
so So since we last spoke in August, the state has actually approved SB 1053, which will ban all plastic carryout bags. Under SB 1053, the bags would be banned by, plastic bags would be banned by 2026, and the paper bag 50% recycled content requirement would take effect later in 2028. After our last presentation, the committee did express some concerns about the potential impact of the recycled content requirement on the supply of the current paper bags. And so to address that, the state's timeline would give the suppliers enough time to make the required changes for the paper bags. We could either update our ordinance ahead of the state's legislation, or we could align with the state's timeline. Next, we are proposing banning the sale and distribution of plastic and mylar confetti because it does not break down in the environment. Biodegradable alternatives such as paper confetti would still be compliant. And although paper confetti is better for the environment, it can still create blight after celebrations. So to address those concerns, our department is sponsoring the Downtown Parking Division's purchase of an electric powered street vacuum and scrubber. The vacuum is pictured here on the slide for reference. The downtown parking team sees so much of the litter and blight firsthand, especially after large events and parades. So this was a great opportunity to collaborate with them to help with litter cleanup and of course, to make sure we purchase all electric equipment. This equipment will supplement the plastic confetti ban and help keep our streets clean. When we last presented the various ordinance options, we also proposed a complete single-use water bottle sale ban. However, after receiving some feedback from the committee, we updated the proposal to only apply to the smaller water bottles. In this update, we propose banning the small water bottles that are 8 ounces or smaller. Exemptions would be included for cases of emergencies or other situations deemed necessary. We also included language from Goleta's ordinance to ban the aseptic Tetra Pak containers from city facilities. And to address some of the concerns associated with the ban, our staff consulted with the city's Water Resources Division to get their feedback on this. Water Resources assures residents that the city has sufficient water supplies in the event of any water bottle ban. This ban would be supported by an outreach campaign to educate residents on the quality of their local water resources and microplastic contamination found in water bottles. Our team will work with Water Resources to assess our existing water station infrastructure and streamline the permitting process for these stations. Water bottle bans require time and education, but the city is ready to lead the way. And next, for our last item, we are proposing a reusable cup requirement for large events. This would apply to events with over 100 attendees. Event producers would be required to promote reusable cups prior to the event date and allow attendees to bring their reusable cups to the event. In addition to that, event producers would be required to ensure that at least 10% of the beverages sold at the event are in reusable cups. To incorporate the feedback we received from the committee, we included an exemption option for nonprofit events and included a phased approach where the requirement would only apply to city-led events within the first year. Right. So after our last presentation, we reached out to other jurisdictions to learn about their experiences with single-use materials ordinances. The city of Truckee is a jurisdiction that we spoke to who explained the difficulty that they face finding a one-size-fits-all solution as a tourist town. They recommended prioritizing the switch to reusables in as many businesses as we can first and filling in the gaps with compostable foodware in the instances where it may not be feasible to have reusables. To assist businesses, Truckee encouraged making grants easy and accessible to apply to. They are in the first year of their water bottle ban, which is a complete water bottle sale ban, and they expressed the importance of public water outreach campaigns. Another note is that they provided WIC, EBT, and SNAP participants with free reusable to-go cups so that they could participate in the new programs. Watsonville is another city that we spoke to with a single-use material ban, and they recommended that we make sure to align our ordinance with neighboring jurisdictions so that distributors can easily supply the region with the compliant materials. And so that's what we're doing with this update. They also advised us to not accept bioplastic products like the ones pictured there. And then the paper cup is an example of a fiber paper cup with a fiber lid that is compliant that they're seeing, I think, at Pete's Coffee now. And so we've not included that in our proposal because given the challenges that many composters are facing. Lastly, they advised us to make sure we have staff and resources to enforce the ordinance. So we are proposing adding another code enforcement officer position to dedicate their time to this ordinance. The committee also requested that we gather more information on a disposable coffee cup fee. So we reached out to local coffee shops to discuss waste reduction initiatives that they'd be interested in or that are already existing we may not know about. Many local coffee shops, including the larger chain stores, already offer reusable cup discounts ranging from 10 to 50 cents. However, some of them might not be very well advertised or could be a little difficult to know about as a customer. Many cafes also offer reusables and did not express a concern with any existing dishwashing capacity. They have the reusables there for customers to use. It's just a matter of education for both the customers and the businesses to make that offer. Dune Coffee, for example, offers reusable Cambros for large events. And those require no deposit as long as and they've had no issues with customers bringing them back. So that's something that we learned through the outreach. Ultimately, a disposable coffee cup fee was not favored because it would burden the baristas to educate the customers at the counter and explain the fee. And while the fee was not favored, there is an interest in participating in a reusable coffee cup, to-go coffee cup pilot program. And we've seen on our next slide there, cities such as Petaluma are already doing reusable coffee cup pilot programs to explore ways to reduce waste. They have various coffee shops in the city, including chains like Starbucks, participating in this program. And through the program, customers are served beverages in a reusable to-go cup that they can drop off at various collection points throughout the city or schedule a pickup through rideshare or food drop-off apps. During the trial, the cups are distributed to customers by default. They don't get another option and it's given to them at no additional cost.
That's the question, Lisa. So these are all the same type of cup that different stores can use. So it's one collection bin. So you could put your Starbucks one in there or your whatever one. It's not like Starbucks has its own return bin.
Correct. Yes, they have their own in their store that customers could use, but there's also various collection points throughout the city, and you don't have to be a participant in the program to be a collection point. For example, 7-Eleven, they have a lot of drop-off points there, but 7-Eleven might not necessarily be participating in the program, but they're an accessible collection point. Thank you. So a pilot program like this might be a great idea for a place like State Street, where we could have multiple drop-off locations within walking distance. The city could partner with a third-party service like the one that the Santa Barbara Bowl uses, or contract a local business who can do dishwashing and collection on a smaller scale. Verve Coffee is a coffee chain that has also been piloting a reusable to-go cup program in various cities. In this example, the cups are terracotta, they're made of clay, salt, and water, and they can either be discarded after use with minimal impact, or they can be reused. Customers do pay an additional $2 for the to-go cup option, otherwise they can do for here. And they receive a discount on their next beverage if they return the cup. So this might not work for every location. A pilot program like this may work for an area like Coast Village Road or businesses with an interest in elevating their product branding and presentation. And this goes back to what Truckee was telling us, that we may not have a one-size-fits-all solution. We may need to try different things in different areas. Our team plans to identify areas of opportunity and participants for a reusable cup pilot, and this would, of course, be paired with an outreach campaign for customers and businesses to reduce disposable cup waste.
That's a good question about the bird cups. If you had both pilots going on, might there be issues with, oh, here's my clay cup, and I'm gonna put it in this bin?
Yes, we may have those issues, and so we would want to identify different areas to conduct these pilots, or we may want to do them at different times to get a better idea of what works best. So the table listed, shown here summarizes the updates that we are proposing to our single-use materials ordinances. On the left are the updates that we need to make to align with neighboring jurisdictions and their ordinances. And on the right are the updates that will expand upon those ordinances. So we have on the left, a polystyrene foodware and product ban, Mylar and the textile restrictions, some updates to our plastic straws, stirrers, and utensils ban, a requirement for compostable, disposable foodware, and an on-site reusable foodware policy for the for here option. And on the right, we want to expand on these ordinances and include some more regulations such as the plastic and Mylar confetti ban, a plastic bag ban, the hotel toiletries ban, and a water bottle sale ban for the smaller plastic water bottles, as well as a large event reusable cup requirement. And supplement this with some pilot programs for to-go coffee cups. So in summary, staff is recommending that the Sustainability Committee forward a recommendation to council to adopt an ordinance expanding existing single-use materials regulations that would include the updates listed here that we just covered. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you, committee members, for your time. And I'll go ahead and pass it on to Stephanie for the next item.
Here we have a question.
So before we go on to questions, I just have a couple of things. First, based on Ms. Hirely said we should probably, though, it should go to ordinance, not directly to council as part of the motion.
So it is going to ordinance, but the recommendation is to council to adopt.
That was my gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay, so recommend that it go to ordinance for council to adopt.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is gonna go to ordinance. The other thing I realize as we're going through the, I don't try to catch this, but I might need to actually recuse myself on the, I do need to recuse myself just to be safe, and I'll have to check on the water bottles and the bags.
Yeah.
So what we could do then, when we do deliberations, is do everything else. And then take a separate vote, and then I would turn it over. One of you could run for the bags and the water bottles, and then I'll just have to recuse myself out. Sorry, I didn't catch that earlier, so,
I think that works. That works fine.
okay, so is that good with everyone? We'll do all that. So first, questions from the committee on this?
Well, that was my question about going to ordinance and then.
Okay. Any other further questions? All right, any public comments?
Yeah, Penny of Santa Barbara, Galen Cooper, along with County King and CC. I just want to say thank you to staff for all the work and research and outreach on very comprehensive proposed policy updates. It's really exciting to see Santa Barbara stepping back up into a leadership role in our community, and it's a really comprehensive list of potential updates, and some of the ones from the water quality perspective and channel keeper in our community cleanups we see as really big issues, as we are still starting to see that a lot of those single-use plastic bags, that plastic Mylar and the confetti at city parks and beaches, and you could literally lose your mind trying to pick up that. There's just thousands of little pieces, so it'd be incredible to just kind of cut that off a little bit closer to the source. And, you know, we can still have fun parties, we just don't need that single-use plastic. And yeah, we're really supportive and happy to help where we can with outreach. or anything like that.
Thank you, Ms. King.
Yeah, I echo Penny's thanks for this comprehensive look and all the research that staff has done and the support from council. Couple of questions or just comments on, I don't know if anybody has done anything about Mylar packaging, or maybe that's the next step from here, you know, chip bags and Snicker bars and things like that, that's Mylar as well. I am a bike commuter and I belong to a monthly trash mob that picks up for the city, and there's a lot of that out there, a lot of those types of bags. Packaging, I've also seen an uptick in plastic straws. So I think that having this extra code enforcement person could really help that. My son went to Blenders on Coast Village not that long ago and was asked if he wanted a plastic or a paper straw. So they're not even hiding what they're doing. And just anecdotally, I'm noticing a lot of that out there. Just wondering about the timeline in terms of getting to council, because Councilmember Friedman, I think, mentioned at the last meeting in August that the having the city be the enforcement mechanism for the toiletries statewide law needed to be decided in 2024. So I don't know if that's gonna have an impact on the timeline. I just wonder about the coffee shops structure in terms of for here, because to go is the default. I'm sure we all experience sitting in a coffee shop surrounded, drinking out of our ceramic or reusable and being surrounded by people with to-go cups that are drinking it there. So I just wonder if maybe we could experiment with some of these coffee shops that might be willing to make for here the default. And ask them, is this to go instead? Because they just presume, you know, a handlebar, they'll start grabbing a cup to write your name on it before you even know for here, you know, and then they get a Post-it instead and put it on the cup. So I'm just wondering if there's a way to structure that, because there was a model here, Kaye, or however you pronounce that, CAJE shop that is now has several locations. That was their model when they first opened pre-COVID. They were only reusable. And then, of course, that went away, but I don't know if anyone has contacted them about maybe bringing that back. I just also wonder about on the 8-ounce bottle ban, if anybody's talked to county staff at the MRF about the recyclability of bottles that are bigger than that. Because I know that they are accepting PETs 1 and 2. There's a market for PET 1 and 2 that's sort of large. But I just wonder what the size distinction is there in terms of if it's 12 ounces or whatever the size is that makes it more recyclable. Because, you know, they're just bailing up plastics there and landfilling it for the most part. If you've been on the tour, my class goes there every 3 times a year. So we get updates quite a bit on what they're doing there. And then I love the reusable cup at large events. And I'm just wondering if 10% is enough of a baseline for beverages sold. I wonder if the baseline could be more about the closed loop, you know, in a beer garden or someplace with a fence, because I think that's where the returnability rates are the highest, is when people are in a cage, basically, then they're not gonna walk away because they have to leave through a fence. Yeah, I think that's all my comments. Otherwise, you know, thank you. You know, I think you're gonna hear this phrase, maybe you've already heard it, now more than ever. Subnational action is gonna matter and make a difference. And so, you know, what we do here is important. So, thank you.
Any other public comments? Let's see, I think turn it back to us. So let's start with everything except for the 8-ounce water bottles and the grocery store bags, and have discussion and comments and motions, and I'll accuse myself of it too. Who wants to go first?
I really appreciate this. I think everything that we talked about has been incorporated and more information, really, really helpful. And I'm very excited to be voting yes. So I want to say first, thank you very much. And specifically, I want to call out something that I think is really exciting personally, and maybe it's just the amount of coffee that I drink, but the reusable cup pilot program, I love. And I think aesthetically, you know, the clay cups are beautiful. I'm not sure. For me, I think maybe a place to start that would have the biggest impact is in this reusable. And I love the idea, we could get like city branding on the cups. It's just a great way to associate the city with sustainability and as a partner for local businesses as well. I mean, just thinking about the way this is laid out, I can't imagine something more convenient. And I just really, I'm super excited about it. So I know that there's lots of logistics and there would be money involved in making this happen, but I really hope that we can do this because I think it could make a big difference and it just has so many ancillary positive effects that I think everyone would be really happy to participate. So thank you for finding out about that and bringing it to us. I'm really excited about it.
Let's see, thank you for this. It is very comprehensive and proactive and I'm happy to see it coming forward. Some comments, I appreciate the ban on the Mylar and the latex, and I also appreciate that it's not banning the paper, and finding a way to make that happen, because it is such a culturally significant part of our celebrations locally, and that feels appropriate and right, that is, instead of banning that altogether, to come up with a way that the electric, I love the electric vacuum cleaner, item there, and so really appreciate that. I have a kind of a question, and maybe it's for our committee, but I'm trying to remember why for the reusable cups for large events, we exempted nonprofits. Is it, we anticipate there's an added expense?
Cost if I recall, it was,
Okay.
and we,
Okay, because I mean, there are nonprofits who already are doing this and leading the way in how to do it, so. That one, I would be okay with having it be for all events, more than 100 people, but I can defer on that one too. And then I really love the idea of the free cups for the like LGBT and staff. I think I'm really bringing that into community. On all the different elements, appreciating the education component. I mean, you're so good at that. This department is so good at that anyway. So really focusing on that. Love the reusable pilot program. And I agree, starting with the ones that aren't the play cups and maybe having the play cups on West Village or something like that. I just think there'd just be too much confusion with I'm dropping my cup in here, and they maybe seem breakable. And so if they didn't make it into the container, then I don't know, that one seems very aesthetically pleasing and very interesting. But I would, if we were to do one first, I would do the, what do you call it? You don't call it plastic, it's the reusable cup pilot program bins or whatever you call it. I think for this slide 30, it's a great idea to be aligning with our neighbors and all the aligned ones, and I'm good with all of the expanded ones. I still, the small plastic water bottle sale ban. Yes, but I think we could also do the larger ones too, but starting with the small ones, I think is a great place to start. And definitely for city facilities, city events, at all sizes. I don't understand why we're still offering any kind of plastic water bottle. And really with that, increasing the water stations and the infrastructure just throughout the city too. I'm not sure if there are any on outdoor public facilities where you don't have to go indoor somewhere and do it. So I think that would be, maybe library plaza or someplace that's accessible that people could be doing. That would be a good idea. And then I've also been seeing many more plastic straws and at blenders and other places where it's not even an offer, do you want a plastic or another one, but it's just a lot more, it's notable, the more plastic straws. And then I like the idea for here being a default, and maybe we could do an education program or incentive on that. And I think with some of these other programs coming online, that would be a good time to do that. So this is really excellent, really exciting. I also will be supporting moving that forward.
thank you all. Thanks to our allies and our advocates for pushing this. We wouldn't be here without all your voices and getting everyone organized around it. Agree with my colleagues on the items and fully support moving forward. In particular, the just doing the one reusable cup, not the clay at this time. It'd just be too confusing. And then you're also gonna get better metrics of it too. When you're looking at the data on it. To the issue of the 10%. I think it could be fleshed out a little bit more based on the comments that we heard. If maybe you could increase the 10% if it's within like, say, the beer garden area, you could probably get more than 10% if everyone's in there. So just how we can address that to try to get a higher percentage there, but then what would the impacts be for the rest of the festival where it's not really controlled? Where people are coming and going depending on where it is. It could be on the streets out here, so it's not like a closed street, so people could be walking and the next thing they're a block off and they're not gonna walk back, so they end up throwing the cups out. Because we are gonna have a lot more street festivals, and so if it's not contained in that area, we could lose some of those cups, which could present an issue, so. Maybe we do start with a controlled area and get a higher percentage. And then I think that was all I had really, that I'm supportive of all this, and I really like getting rid of the small little things from hotels on there. Those are just, and you go to other places now, they have like the big ones that are in there, so it's a lot of hotels aren't even doing it anymore on there, so. With that, so let's do the motion for the staff recommendations. If we could just exempt out the water bottles and plastic bags for now. And, yeah, so if we could do that, then I'll take myself on.
I'll move staff recommendation, accept the water bottles and plastic bags.
There's a second.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further comments? Not hearing any, all in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. And then I will step out and then when it's done, just I'll be right out here. Someone can get me. Or I'll just take it. So.
I'll move the water bottle ban and the plastic bag ban.
Second.
Aye.
Okay.
We made it through somehow.
Man, you guys tied?
It's a real fight.
All right, so we are done. And items of interest, any items of interest?
So quickly, if I can tell you what's coming. December looks like we might cancel, and January typically gets canceled because of the timing of the election. So February will be creek buffer ordinance. And potentially San Roberto Clean Energy Program update, because we should have our full suite of programs launching by then. For this fiscal year. And I think that's the list that we have so far. Okay.
Just a note for the committee, I'll be gone for most of February, so I probably will not. 3 weeks, so unless it's the one weekend in town, so I won't be the first week. Sorry.
We could do a special at the end of January too.
The engine.
Okay, maybe we'll work on that.
Just the status on the
Electrical
Yes.
framework.
the ecological framework, yeah, that just not a pressure, but just sort of a time.
Maybe we could do that at the special meeting in January too. That's requiring some coordination with city administrator's office, because one of the requests you had was a change to staff report structure, so we need to get it.
So that's inherent with that, the ecological framework is the proposed.
That was the
changes to
recommendation
staff
from that
reports.
meeting. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't have anything, so. With that, we are adjourned. Good work, everyone.
I am going to buy and then I'm going.
What?
Bye, Mary.
Work.